All right, so good morning. We'll do a short morning crowd episode because there's not matches to break down, and usually that's like the juicy stuff of this. I know there's some rumors like you guys are telling me in the chat with Clay. We can kind of just talk about them and just see what we all think about it. I can give you a few of the takes on some questions that you guys have. Maybe we just kind of brainstorm some things of what we think is going to happen and all that stuff. We're going to watch this clip right now. There's a clip on the Reddit, and it's a clip of Zuma's stream, and it says that NYSL is keeping Clay confirmed. I don't know what this clip is, so we'll watch this together too and react to it and see like just what's going on. And then other than that, I don't think there's too much going on in the COD community right now, unless you guys bring something up in the chat. The only thing that we need to do is do match predictions. So this will be that's got to be bait. It's got to be bait. That's how I agree. But there's there's not too much to do, so there's gonna be a short episode, very to the just to the point. The match predictions will go a little bit more in depth since we have a lot of time to do that, and then we'll move on to rank play. So this will be a shorter episode. And yeah, it's definitely bait. So let's go see what this baity clip. This just sounds like bait, dude. I mean, they can keep him. He just won't start. Yeah, but like that tells me though that he's like then potentially not playing. You know what I mean? So it's like I wonder what that even means. So let's see what this clip is, dude. Let's see.
No,
yeah, we scrimmed at York today. Clay was fucking frying.
Wow.
Was he?
Yeah.
So is
You heard New York smoked you guys. Like
What?
like that ass.
Oh, I don't give a fuck what you heard.
I actually got map count as well.
Oh, well, I don't give a fuck.
Yo, he said I don't give a fuck what you heard. So that's bait, obviously. I mean, if I know Zin well enough, he's just being himself and just baiting and stuff. So what's going on, Shivy? That gave us nothing. I thought that was gonna be more of an interesting clip in the sense of like something actually was said by Clay. We all saw the clip of Study when like Study was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Why would I ever play Vanguard again?" And Study was like, "Alrighty." So that shit was really funny too. Oh, this is actually a good. We can read this thread too in a second. This is actually perfect. It kind of goes along with NYSL. Sources say FaZe scrimmed NYSL yesterday. No. Yesterday was Thursday. We played Seattle and Paris. We were supposed to play NYSL on Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday. I want to say it was Wednesday we were supposed to play NYSL, and they chalked our scrim. So because I'm assuming because they don't have a team. On the Reddit, you could talk about the easy back drama, interesting thing. Yeah, we can go from there too. We'll talk a little bit about that before we have some time. We can kind of just bullshit and just talk about what's going on. But all right. Why do NYSL leave every roster announcement until the day of the matches? Seems really weird that they keep leaving things until the last minute. Anyone else got the feeling it's just Nep out and now Clay is still starting? Probably something to do with contracts, old and new. It also could just be for suspense and keep people invested. I didn't think Neptune was back in the starting lineup until a couple of minutes before their match. Content for YouTube. I can see Clay starting. It would be funny though. Some people are already celebrating him for being dropped and retiring. All this stuff. Yeah. All right. So what do we think, chat? What do we think? There's a bunch of different worlds here. A big rumor right now is that Clay is getting benched, dropped, retiring. I don't know any of the sort, and they're picking up somebody else. Like that's like what people are saying. I don't know if it's a two-person change. I don't know if it's just Clay. I don't think Clay's done. I don't know. They paid too much. They'll give him to Major 2. See, maybe you're right there, and there is a business world where they've paid too much money for him because he's probably one of the highest paid players, just, like especially just everything going on and like how big his brand is. But Clayster wants to play. I don't think they're just going to keep him on the bench. And like maybe they gave him to Major 2, but they also want to be good. And I'm not saying Clayster's the reason why they're bad, but like they obviously want to make a change, right? So like I don't know if Clay's going to stay on this roster. And I'm actually speaking genuinely right now. I have no idea. Like I've heard rumors and stuff about like certain teams and like shit like that, but I have no idea any more than probably anyone else that like I actually have no idea what NYSL is doing. So like I don't know if Clay is going to stay on this roster, considering I just don't think it's working out with all of them. Clay doesn't seem really happy from his tweets about how like they never rotate and they're never in the right spots and blah blah blah. They're all pretty much frustrated in the sense that they kind of suck, to be honest. But if Clay, so let's talk about the world where if Clay does get benched, dropped, whatever it is, like, you know, they don't feel like it's working out with Clay on their team. Not that Clay's bad, but whatever. They, you know, they want to split ways. I don't think Clay's done, dude. Like I feel like Clay, the way Clay's been performing, he's been playing like shit. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, Clay has not been playing good for Clayster standards. He's even said it. And, you know, I love Clay, but Clay's just not been playing as good as he can. But to defend him, and I've seen this before in his career, this was a while ago, but Clay, with the, like, you know, if Clay finds a team that he's comfortable with and has a little bit more belief in, I think Clay plays way, way better. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't think Clay is done. Like, I think Clay still can easily join a team and completely turn his game around. He's done it before in his career. So it's like super possible. That's why, like, I just don't feel like it's just going to come to an end right now. Even if he were to get benched or whatever, I think he's going to, like, try and find a team and just turn it around. Like, I really just don't see how he ends like this. And I just feel like even though he's playing bad and people are giving him a lot of shit, I truly do think if he just gets a whole new roster in the sense of, like, a whole new vibe, a whole new atmosphere, a whole new work environment, I think he gets better at the game. And then, you know, after that, maybe that's a different thing. Like, I don't know. So, it's just, the thing is, though, now, you know, where I just brought this conversation to, where does he go? Cold War Clay was frying. I just hope he turns it around this year. Yeah, that's my thing. It's like, his like, drop-off in, like, individual play this year, I don't think stems from, like, him being just bad. I just think that entire roster is a shit show, and, like, it's not bringing the best out of any of them. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think it's bringing the best out of any of them in the sense of, like, I just do not, like, they're not getting good practice most likely. They're not playing well. They're super frustrated. Like, I just feel like that's not bringing the best out of any of them. So, like, the thing is, though, is, like, if this change does happen and Clay's not done, where does he go? That's, like, kind of like where I was, like, you know, confused about. And I go to bed too early to talk to everyone at night, so I legitimately have no idea where everyone's going. Like, it's fucking... So, someone said Rocker for Maniac. I don't see that happening. I think that Rocker team's pretty... I feel like that Rocker team's pretty, like, solidified right now. Like, I know they're not doing the best that they can, but I still think they want to work it out. Like, I don't think they're going to make a change right away. It's just weird. That's the thing. It's like, I feel like it's just such a weird situation of, like, I have no idea where he'd go. Because, like, I do think Clay being... What's it called? Major's underrated? I think Major's underrated, too. I like Major. I do think Clay with a completely different atmosphere, like, you know, a work environment, all that, like, gets way better. So, like, I don't know. LA Thieves for Kenny? Hell no. That's not happening. Chalk this game and wait for next year, or is that not realistic? It's possible. I don't know if Clay's going to want to do that. It's possible, but I don't think Clay's going to do that. Like, I feel like Clay is so far along in his career where it would be pretty crazy if, like, he just stopped playing for this season and then came back again next season. It's possible, but I don't know. Kenny's an AR. Kenny's like the flex, and then Octane's their AR. I don't think LA Thieves is making a change. LA Thieves looks good. Like, I know they're not playing like up, like, you know, like the LA Thieves are still a top 6 team, top 5 team, even top 4 if they're playing hot. Like, LA Thieves is a very good team. Like, very, very good. Right now, if LA Thieves was a little bit better at search too, and then they had their like, if they can get all their game modes just collectively together, they'd be really, really, like, even, you know, they have a lot of potential. I don't see why Thieves would make a change. I don't see him anywhere else but NYSL, to be honest. That's what I mean. It's just a weird thing to think about. So I have no idea. I'm not sure. Can we watch an NYSL game and try and see what's going wrong? I can't really go too far in depth with that, Sally, because, like, you know, there's a point to where I can't, you know what I mean? Like, there's a point where I can't really, there's like a line that I can't really cross. I can break some stuff down, but, like, I can't, like, pinpoint. Like, I can probably pinpoint, in my opinion, you know, I'm not always right, but, like, in my opinion, what's going wrong in their game, but I can't, like, probably cross that line on live stream, you know. I can call it, like, mistakes here and there, yeah, but, like, going super far in depth might be really tough. But I honestly think, though, what's going wrong with that team is just, like, the lack of belief in, like, that team just not being good together. Like, I think it's truly underrated. I think it's truly underrated. Diddy, I fucking love you. I think it's truly underrated, though, in the mental side of things, of, like, having a team that you believe in. Like, if you're getting on every day, and we kind of talked about this yesterday when we were arguing about, like, just, like, roster changes and stuff. if you're getting on every day and you just legitimately know that your team has no fucking chance of winning, or like you legitimately believe this, your team has no fucking chance of winning, your team's like not that fucking good, you're already 0 whatever in the league, you can't win a hard point, like you're at rock bottom, you're not getting on every day like fucking happy to play and all this shit. You're fucking, you're just pissed off. And when you're pissed off and that's the environment, you're super edgy, you're super fucking frustrated, you're super quick to argue with your teammates and shut shit down. Like you're not even focusing on like actually getting better as much as it's like other shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. It's just, that's what I really do think with that team is. I just think like once they started off slow, I think they just let it spiral and then they couldn't like get out of that. And then after that, like that team doesn't mesh well in general either. But I definitely think, you know, they're not playing to their ceiling at all. But at the same time, I don't think that team ceiling was as high as it could have been too. Just with this, how this game played out. This game is obviously pretty fucking nuts. It's not a player problem, it's a team problem. That's what I mean. Yeah, it's like, that's why I'm saying like with Clay, why I don't think he's done. I truly don't think Clay just like gets dropped here and is just done. Because I actually do think if Clay found another team with a different environment and like, you know, some positivity in the environment, I think he actually plays way better. This is a really, really, really tough comparison, and it's like years ago now. But when I won my world championship with Clayster, before I teamed with Clayster was on Envy. And Clayster was on Envy with Merc, JCap, and Nameless, I'm pretty sure. And they were playing together. And I was on my denial team. My denial team was good. We were top 3.
Biologist were on his first date. Designer jeans.
Price, thank you very much. I appreciate you. And after that Envy team, like that Envy team sucked. And after that Envy team was kind of sucking, we got Clay. And I can tell you straight up, I wasn't happy about getting Clay and Cap because, in my opinion, I just lost Zuma and Saints. And back then, like, you know, we needed slaying power in that game. And Cap was not slaying power that I thought we needed, especially with me being on the team too. Like, you know, like I wasn't the slaying power I thought we needed either, but I thought like, you know, I can get some stuff done without and like have people slay around me. And then same thing with Clay. Like Clay wasn't playing that good either. I was like, shit, like, you know, Clay's our main AR right now, but he hasn't been playing well either. So it's like, fuck. But then Clay joins our team and like, you know, we kind of all dropped anything aside. We were like, yo, these guys dropped us. These guys dropped us. Fuck everybody. We're about to fucking take over and like, you know, put our fucking heart and soul into our game and try and be the best team we can be. And then we won. You know, we got second, first, second. Like we, you know, that run was great. So there's a world where Clay joins another team and gets really good again. You know what I'm saying? And plays like really, really good. You know, so it's just like, I don't know. That's why like I don't think he's done. That's like my biggest thing that I'm kind of sitting on. He said yesterday on Study Stream, he'll even take a pay cut to get another shot with the right team. He'll be back on top. Exactly. That's my point. So yeah, I don't think he's done. I just don't know where he goes. That's my thing. I just don't know where he goes. Like genuinely have no fucking idea. Are they playing with the same roster this weekend? I didn't see an announcement anywhere. I think there's no shot in fucking there's no shot they play with the same roster this weekend. There's no shot. Like, right? There's just no shot because they have to make a change. Like, even though I'm saying, you know, Clay's not done and he's going to be good if he goes somewhere else, I'm not saying he needs to stay on that team and they need to try and work it out. You know, in my opinion, I definitely think a change needs to happen. I think that team has lost belief in each other. I think, you know, they're just down bad. They're not getting anything going. Like, I think there's no shot that they stay together. Maybe he stays on the team for now, but it's just weird. So who knows? Before we do like, you know, match predictions and stuff. So yeah, I wish I had more insight on the topic that we're talking about. And, you know, I wish there was more like actual things that have been spoken and been like, are like legit, because it'd make my job easier to talk about it and stuff. But it's just like, this is like one of the first times where I have no idea what's about to fucking happen. Yeah, I guess that's really all we can talk about. That wasn't that's really there's nothing else to go. Like, I guess we can like bring up these teams and like just see. Like, here, we'll do some match predictions here in a second. But like, these are all the teams on your screen right here. You know, it's just weird. I don't know where Clay goes. It's just the fucking weirdest thing ever, dude. How much stock gets put on a team though if they change and slap Paris? As bad as they have been, I still think they beat Paris. Paris just made a new roster change. And they went game 5 with Minnesota, and Jimbo had the worst series of his life. I don't know if this new Paris team is as bad as you're making them out to be yet. You know, Paris won a match or two on LAN, I'm pretty sure, or they won a match and then lost. Like, they're not as bad as you're making them out to be what they were previously with their other roster. So Paris have been a little bit better. Like, I think NYSL looks the worst right now in the league in that sense. So it's like, I don't know. I think depending on how this team, Temp has been great this year. Well, Temp's just a good player. Temp's really talented. So like, I agree. But yeah, so I don't know. But yeah, all these teams, it just seems like they're so like solidified right now. The only teams that aren't would be Paris. Kind of like, you know, their roster is like obviously still up in arms. I feel like they can make some changes still, like depending on how they do, but they've been getting a little bit better. New York, obviously, but that's not the team. I feel like Florida's like kind of on the up and up now. They're doing good. I feel like Boston's pretty tight in the sense like I think they're like I don't know. Like I think Florida looks pretty good in the sense like they've looked better. Winning one match was their honeymoon. Well, my thing is I think if Jimbo plays a little bit better, that series versus Rocker might go a different way. So that's why I haven't. We said this the last time we talked about Paris. I haven't really made my opinion on this new Paris team yet. I like Tom Gravity as a pickup. Biasly, I'm a good friend of his, but I also do think he's actually a good AR and like he's gonna play well and do consistent. So I actually do think he's a good pickup. Jimbo played absolutely just terrible last match, and they still won Game 5. So I don't think that's what we're gonna see from Jimbo every match. You know what I mean? I think he just had a bad day. So we're gonna kind of see like how he plays now. So we'll kind of see. I don't know. The only option I see for Clay is LAG. That's what I mean. I don't see any teams really making a move, and like LAG is like slightly struggling, but I don't know like if they. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Like it'll be interesting because like you guys are saying Clay for Austin. Like I just don't see a world where a Slasher gets dropped. You know, I don't see a world where Slasher gets dropped. Let's be honest. That series should have never won Game 5 if Standy got on the hill. See, I agree with that. Whoa, but if you're gonna use like the ifs and the shouldas and stuff, like. I mean, if Jimbo just didn't play as horrible as he did, maybe that doesn't go to, you know, maybe that doesn't go to that last hill and Paris wins. Like, you know, like it kind of goes both. It kind of goes back. Like, I don't know. It's just, it is what it is. All I'm saying is that I'm not putting a full opinion on the new Paris team until I see them play a couple more times. But I see where you're coming from, Will. 100%. If Standy just sat in the hill, that would have been over. I agree. Yes. I don't think Asim would want to play with Clay after last year. Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't know. We'll see. Who fucking knows? But anyway. You know, moving on from that topic, we'll just do match predictions because that's really the only thing else we have to really talk about is the match predictions and stuff. And then we'll kind of end it. This is a short episode. These aren't as fun. I like breaking down the games. I can't wait for these matches today. But yeah, dude. Have you dropped Cell today yet? No, I haven't dropped Cell yet. You want me to drop him for Clay? I drop Cell like once a podcast or once a morning. You guys want me to drop Cell again today? We haven't dropped Cell yet. Should we drop Cell today? Again? We drop him once a day, dude. I'll get rid of him again, dude, if I need to. But, yeah, dude. I don't know. Interesting stuff. We'll kind of see. We'll kind of see what's going on from there. And then, let's do some match predictions. London Royal Ravens versus Paris Legion. I'm not going to go too in-depth here because personally... Oh, wait. Do we know? Is Gizmo back? Is Gizmo back? Yes. 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 Okay. I'm picking Ravens. I think Ravens wins this. I think, you know... I think that's a fair bet. Paris, again... We don't know what's going on with their roster. I don't know how good they're going to be yet. You know, I don't have a full opinion on them. But I do think London is obviously the better team here. I would like to see Paris keep this close. If Paris keeps this close and plays well, like they can still win this. You know, any team can beat any team in this league. But if Paris plays this well, then like it'll help me like form more of an opinion on this Paris team. But I do think Ravens are going to win this. That's just, I think right now Ravens are playing too good. I think they look great. I think they have the vetoes in their favor. I think Paris is still like, you know, trying to work things out and stuff. And they still are new, but we'll see. Again, so I'm going with Ravens, and we'll kind of just see how that match plays out. Seattle Surge versus Optic. This is the matchup of the day. What do you guys think? Obviously, Seattle Surge coming off a win versus us. They're feeling good. But Optic is the best team in the game right now. But Optic obviously playing that LA Thieves team and going 3-2. So it's like, they didn't... The maps that Optic won, they dominated the respawns versus LA Thieves. That search was obviously close. But so it's like, I don't know, dude. It's weird. Like, the maps that Optic won, they look dominant. But then, it still goes game 5, round 11. So, it's weird. If you're just like looking at it from an outside in. Personally, I think Texas is the best team in the game right now. So there's a lot of surges, there's a lot of optics. So let's do some Bravitos. Also, I have another good question to bring up with you guys here in a second. 1 second. All right. So Seattle Surge, and then let's do Optic Texas. Okay. So if you're, here's a big thing for you. Does Texas try some maps out again? So we talked about this yesterday or the day before. Texas obviously tried out a few maps versus LA Thieves. And what I mean by that is they're 0-3 on Desert Siege and they're 0-4 in Berlin. And they played both of those maps versus LA Thieves. And we had a whole conversation if that was a good or bad idea. We're not going to go down that road again because that's, we already kind of addressed that in the last podcast. But I thought it was a great idea. They ended up losing both of those maps, but they're getting practice, they're getting reps, and they're thinking long term. It's a great idea, right? We had that whole conversation. So I love the fact that they did that. And they're still a good enough team where even if they do that, that's not an excuse for them to lose. And they still ended up winning the match. So both teams here are bad at Berlin in the sense of they're not good Berlin hardpoint teams. They're all statistically. Does Texas try Berlin again? So do they try Berlin again to get another rep on it and keep trying it? You know what I mean? You think so? I remember you doing that with Thieves and Black Ops 4. I mean, I did the same thing with Apocalypse Hardpoint last year too. Our Apocalypse Hardpoint in scrims was good, but our matches were terrible. So we kept playing this over and over and over again until we got it down. You know what I mean? I think, does Optic go down this route? If it's the best opportunity if both teams are bad on it? Because you have to remember, I always say this, even though Texas is 0-4 on this, I'm pretty sure Shotzi said this on stream, and I can just attest to this, with my own team last year. Our best map in scrims last year was Apocalypse Hardpoint, but our worst map in matches was Apocalypse Hardpoint. And that's why when we would play Apocalypse Hardpoint, I would never be oh, we just picked our bad maps, we lost. No, you have no excuse to lose any map that you play. So it's picking bad maps or your less preferred maps is not an excuse to lose or win a match. It's just more or less you have to work on them. And in opportunities in qualifiers and stuff, especially if you're Optic and you're at the top of the fucking top of the chain here, I think they do it. So in my opinion, Seattle Surge is 5-1 in Tuscan Hardpoint. That looks like their best hardpoint. They're 0-4 in Gavutu, 3-5 in Bocage, and 1-3 in Berlin. They're 4-1, 5-1 in Tuscan. There's two ways you can go about this. Texas is really good at Tuscan. They're pretty good at Gavutu. They're 2-2, but they look better at Gavutu than 2-2 in my opinion. And then 4-1 and 0-4. I'm wondering what they do here. I think we're gonna see Seattle Surge get rid of Gavutu, and then I think we're gonna see Optic probably get rid of Tuscan to play Bocage and Berlin again. But if they want to go to their main maps, they get rid of Berlin and play Bocage Tuscan. Surge veto was Berlin last time. Yeah, but I think if Surge vetoes Berlin, they just beat my Atlanta FaZe on Berlin, which isn't saying much considering our Berlin record is fucking terrible too. But they beat us, they looked pretty good on it. I think if you veto Berlin versus Texas, I think you're crazy. In the sense of being Seattle right now. I don't know. I don't know scrim records and stuff. Remember, take everything that I'm saying with a grain of salt. I am only going off of this. I am not going off of their scrim records. I don't know, for example, even though they beat us on Berlin, Seattle Surge could be 0-6 in the last 6 times they played Berlin in scrim. So they might have to veto it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I have no idea. Like, you know, what it is. How come the best teams in the game are struggling on Berlin? I don't know. Again, I said this in our last match. The Atlanta FaZe, the Berlin that you saw Atlanta FaZe play in that Seattle Surge match was not the Atlanta FaZe that I watch, that, you know, on a daily basis. I don't know what the fuck that was. Like, the game plan was just not followed at all, like, in any kind of way. It's just like, I don't know. It was just weird. We just didn't stick to our game plan. So it's just kind of weird. But yeah. OG is better than Surge on Tuscan. No, I agree. I think right now the best Tuscan team is also Optic Texas. That's what I'm saying. If they want to go to like their big hitter maps, I think Surge gets rid of Gavutu. I think they get rid of Berlin and they play Bocage Tuscan. And if you get a Bocage Tuscan and you're Optic Texas, I think you're fucking stoked. You know what I mean? I think you're fucking stoked. So it's like, I don't know. But this is a really good opportunity for Texas to leave in Berlin and get another rep on it, especially against a team that's not that good at it. Like, we did it with New York. New York's a bad hardpoint team, so we left Berlin in. You know what I mean? I don't know. So that's gonna be the test of this. I'm very, very curious to see how Texas does this. I'm very, very curious to see how Texas does this. I think they're gonna do the Berlin thing, but I could be wrong. I'm excited to see it, and then we can talk about it tomorrow on the breakdown. And then what's it called? It's weird to see FaZe and Optic had the same problem in Berlin. Yeah, they said they're good at it in scrims. Like, yeah, we play Berlin, and I'm like, oh, we're a good Berlin team. And then I watch us play, and I'm like, oh, that's not what we do on any of these hills. What are we doing? You know, so we just gotta perfect. Again, we talked about my team already, so we don't have to address that. But yeah, we had to perfect some stuff to get the game plan more consistent. So we're getting there. But all right, moving on to the next. So it's like, I think the vetoes are in Optic Texas's favor, and I do think Texas, you know, is looking good in that sense. So we'll see. And then going to the searches, you know, here's Surge right here. Reigning Soldiers, by the way, thank you very much. I appreciate the Prime for 2 months. And then I'm Keller was 6 minutes ago, was 11 months. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. But all right. Search. They're 0-2 at Desert Siege. They're 2-0 in Bocage. They're 5-4 and 3-1. So now, do you think... I don't even know if Desert Siege gets played, because I think Seattle's going to veto Siege right away. Even though Texas is 0-3 in Siege, I don't know. I don't see Seattle trying to play Siege, but Texas is 5-2 in Berlin, and they're 5-4, but it seems like Seattle's always down to play Berlin Surge. So, like, I feel like Berlin's going to get through. There's no way Seattle vetoes Bocage. That would just be crazy. And then you have Tuscan and Desert. I think Seattle loves Tuscan S&D. I think they love Tuscan S&D. So, yeah, Seattle's not getting rid of Tuscan, and they're not getting rid of Berlin. I think they're going to get rid of Siege. You think Surge bans Berlin? You would think so, but I don't know. Like, I feel like Surge is very comfortable playing Berlin S&D. They've played it 9 times. You think Optic bans Tuscan? Yeah, it depends on how comfortable Optic is on Bocage. They've only played it once and they've lost it. It depends on how comfortable they are on Bocage Search. If they're super comfortable on Bocage Search, they're probably going to get rid of Tuscan, right? But if they're not, then I don't know. I don't think Desert Siege gets in solely due to the fact that I just don't think Seattle is going to allow it in. I think Seattle's going to get rid of it. But at the same time, like, Seattle might take their chances. They got 6-0'd last time they played Desert Siege, Search and Destroy. So, like, Optic, they might leave it in there thinking they can steal it from Optic. They probably want another rep on Bocage. I don't know, dude. Maybe, maybe not. And remember, again, with these qualifiers, there's also ways where we're talking about maps and stuff and picking maps that are good or bad for you. Like, Texas is also, they can also just pick a less preferred hardpoint and then leave everything the same. You know what I mean? They don't have to test new maps in every game mode. You know, they might play it. They might have a safety net. This match will be a dogfight. Potentially. It just depends on how things go. Do you think Optic uses this series to try out new maps to test? Like, that's what we're talking about, J-Dog. They could do it in maybe one game mode, but not every game mode. I don't know. To be fair, it's also, the map pool is not that big, so. So, I definitely think you could see a Bocage here. So, like, maybe Texas gets rid of, maybe Texas gets rid of Tuscan. They get rid of Siege, and then you get Bocage Berlin. Maybe. I don't think Seattle's letting Siege in personally right now. I don't think they're gonna let Siege in. So we'll see. I really don't know what the vetoes are because I just don't know what Optic Texas's mindset is right now in the sense of just like how they're gonna approach the match in all game modes. I definitely think it's more possible to see the Berlin and Hardpoint though. Just because both teams are a weaker Berlin Hardpoint team, but at the same time, Bocage Tuscan would be their best thing. And like, yeah, they might throw a safety net in searches and be like, we're gonna play our best searches just in case we lose the Hardpoint kind of thing. Because Surge is not a bad search team. That's the thing. Surge is really not that bad of a search team. They're 10-7 in it. So, I mean, even when we played them, we beat them in 2 respawns. They beat us in 2 searches and a respawn. You know what I mean? Aren't you the coach? I am the coach. What does that mean? I'm the coach of FaZe. Wait, what? So it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, so they might play a safety net and play like their favorite maps just to make sure, like, you know, they have comfortable maps for that. And then 7-6 in control. We already know this. If Optic gets to play Tuscan, they're in a really good seat to win it. If Optic gets to play Gavutu, they're still in a really good place to win it. Tuscan control is Optic's bread and butter. They're going to obviously go for that if they get the choice. Gavutu control, though, is a map that they're still very good at. So this is the thing that sets Optic apart. We say this every day, every time we do this. This is the thing that sets Optic apart right here. No matter what happens, if they always take the control or they keep taking the control, they're always going to be able to play a series no matter what happens, right? Like, they're going to be able to reverse sweep you, close the series out, go up 2-1, so on and so forth. So this is big for them. I don't think there's much to talk about. I think if you're Seattle, you try and play Gavutu control just because you probably have a better chance than Tuscan. But that's like kind of picking your poison right now. So we'll see. Depends on how good Seattle comes out in control. You're still winnable and stuff. You know what I mean? But we'll see. I don't think Rambo's worried about points as long as they have enough points to get the champs. I mean, yeah, Rambo's smart average. We did the same thing last year. Like, being first or second. Well, last year it was a little bit more important. This year, I don't think it's nearly as important. Like, being first or second or third seed and stuff is like not that much of a difference compared to like having a big map pool. Because again, if you want to win the world championship and you're going into that world championship and you can't play Berlin Hardpoint and you can't play this S&D and you can't play this control, you're not going to win the world championship. It doesn't matter what fucking seed you have. You know what I mean? Because when you get to that best of 5, when you get to that best of 9, you're going to lose. That's just plain and simple. It's the reason why we played Express S&D so much last year instead of vetoing it all the time. It's the reason why we did the same thing with like APOC Hardpoint, because we were vetoing it all the time. Like, it just is what it is. Like, you have to do that. If you want to play the long series and win a world championship in a long game, you have to do that. And if you think otherwise, like, good fucking luck. Maybe you can do it. It's still possible, but having bad maps in a best of 9 is really tough to avoid, especially in this game, considering you only get 1 veto as Team A. So literally all Texas got out. Like, imagine if Texas was their map pool wasn't as deep and our map pool was really deep at the time, which it wasn't. They only got to get rid of Bocage Hardpoint. They had to play everything else. You see the issue there? Like, like that's not good. Like, if they had bad maps all the time. Like, we had bad maps and we got exposed. Like, our map pool wasn't deep and we lost. Like, our respawn map pool wasn't deep enough, like, for that major and we got shit on. So it's like, you can't do that if you expect to win championships, period. I don't know. Do you think Bocage gets better with the bomb move? Potentially. Bocage is just a mixy map because, like, in that A site, just all over that building is just crazy timings. But yeah, so I don't really know how the vetoes are going to go. It's kind of impossible to tell just because I don't know the mindset of Optic and, like, what they're doing. But going back to the schedule here, I do think Texas is favored in this. So I'm going London and then I'm going Texas. I think this could be a very close match, though. Like, this can be a very close one. But I'm going Texas. So I'm going London. Going Texas, which is a safer pick. This match is a fucking weird one, though. This match is a fucking weird one. Minnesota Rocker versus Boston Breach, dude. Who do you think wins this? The reason why I say this is a weird one is because both teams are, like, good at search and destroy. But one team's really bad at hardpoint. So you would say, like, Breach is probably favored in this. But, like, I don't know. Let's just, like, look. So Rocker is 0-5 on Tuscan. You can say 1-4, considering Standy literally just got off the hill and lost them the game. So, that you can give them an extra win in Tuscan if you really want to. So, like, they're 1-4 in Tuscan or 0-5 or whatever. They're 0-3 on Bocage. They're 3-2 and then 2-2. And then you go to Breach, 4-1, 3-6, 3-1, 2-1. Breach is pretty good. Like, you know, Breach has got like a pretty good map pool. Like, they can play it all, and they'll try to play it all, is what they're showing here. Breach is not getting rid of Bocage, period. They love Bocage. They play it all the time. I'm pretty sure 2 of their losses to Bocage came from us too. So, like, they love Bocage. They're gonna play it. Like, I think Breach is gonna get rid of probably like a Berlin, maybe not though, because they like Berlin too. I know they're 4-1 in Berlin. Never mind. I think Breach gets rid of Gavutu or Tuscan, depending on like what they don't want to play. Probably Tuscan, maybe. And then like they're gonna get. I think Minnesota gets rid of Cage, and you get Berlin Gavutu. I think that looks way more favored for Breach in the hard points. But again, we don't know how this role switch has been going. Maybe like, you know, Minnesota's been getting way better. You know what I mean? Like maybe Minnesota's been getting way better at hard point with this new role switch. Like now that they've had more like a whole week of practice. If Minnesota has improved their hard point, they have a good chance of winning this. I agree. But if Boston, you know, if they get Berlin hard point to start, I think Boston's going to be really stoked about that. Or Gavutu to start. Like I think the hard points are looking in Breach's favor at the moment. But I just don't know how good Minnesota is at hard point right now. Do you think Preston should even be the sub on Gav? No, Preston's Preston can run that third AR and he's fine. I would love Preston to be the sub on Gav, but with having Standy on that team, I feel like you have to kind of not do that, you know? But I think Preston is a good enough sub where if he was on a different team with like in him being the main sub, I think he can be the sub on Gav. I just don't think you do that with the team that he is on right now. All right, so I think we're going to see Gavutu in Berlin. I think Minnesota gets rid of Cage. They get rid of Tuscan. That's my guess. I don't really know, though, because Breach is pretty good. I definitely think if it goes to Berlin, I'm pretty sure Boston will win that. Gavutu, Boston has a better chance of winning that. These guys look good at Gavutu, but at the same time, like I feel like Minnesota can probably, that's the map they would steal. But again, I really don't know where they're at the hard points, so we'll see. Search and Destroy is where like this series gets mixy. So, you know, we're talking about respawns and how important they are, which they are. But, like, both teams are good at S&D, right? Berlin, they're 5-1. Minnesota's 5-1. Berlin, they're 3-2. Like, they're both, like, considered good S&D teams. The one thing for Boston is that they're 3-4 on Tuscan. Minnesota is 2-3 on Tuscan. So, like, that actually might get left in because they're both not that good at it. I wonder if they're going to get rid of Berlin Search versus a team like Rocker that's super, super comfortable on it. S&D is going to be an absolute banger. I agree, because they're 2-0 on Bocage. They're 1-1 on Bocage. Like, I feel like any map can happen here. I think this is going to be like a bloodbath. But I do think what's going to decide this series is that both of these teams are fucking abysmal at control. So, like, control is probably, like, the most important game mode in a series. I know that sounds crazy to say, considering it's only 1 out of the 5, and, like, the other 2 are, you know, two game modes in the 5. But control is like the swing mode, dude. If you're down 0-2, you can win it and bring yourself back. If you're up 2-0, you can close it out. If you're tied 1-1, you can go up 2-1. Like, control is just such a good way to extend the series no matter what. And being good at control is just so important for, like, the momentum, the closing out, like, everything about it. And both of these teams are pretty bad at control right now. I don't know what the fuck's about to happen. Like, this is like a weirdly evenly matched team. The difference is the hard points of Minnesota not going in the way. If Minnesota wins a hard point, I think they can win the series. But if they don't, I don't think they win this. Because I don't think they take 2 S&Ds versus Breach, because I think Breach is a good enough S&D team where they're going to split 1-1. I do think if Minnesota wins a respawn, like wins a hard point, they can win this. But if not, like, they have a pretty good chance of losing the control, but at the same time, they have a pretty good chance of winning it because Boston's not good at it. I think Minnesota is going to need to steal a hard point here. And if they do, then I think Boston's in a scary spot. Do you think a control win for Boston could help their mentality on the game mode? Yes. That goes for anyone. If you're shitty at a game mode and you finally get a win on it, that's all you need, dude. Sometimes you just need that, like, you know, that split second of belief that, hey, we can fucking win this goddamn game mode. You know what I mean? I think that'll help them out a lot. So I'm sure Boston, you know, knows that, and I'm sure they've been working that on practice. The control is going to be really important. I do think Minnesota is slightly favored, not by much in the controls. So they're going to need to take a if they take a hard point, I think this is scary for Boston. I don't know who to go with here. Like going back to the original point. Whew. Dude, I don't know. So I took London, I took Texas. I feel like that's like, you know, pretty safe ones. Pretty safe ones. Minnesota Rocker and Boston Breach. I'm gonna go Rocker, dude. I think Rocker's gonna come out with the fucking fire. I think Boston's a really good team. I think they're well-rounded, except for their control. Like, you know, I think they're a really good hardpoint team, and they definitely have the advantage. So I might look stupid here for saying this, but I think Rocker's gonna come out with the fire. I think Rocker comes out. They take a respawn, and they win this, and they're gonna win this series. But at the same time, I feel like Boston is just a smarter pick to take here. But I'm gonna go with Rocker. I have a good feeling about Rocker. Even though I think it's like technically not the smart choice. Not by much, but yeah. Stylo and Velocity Wolf, 19 months, 34 months. I appreciate you both. Crowder hype in the chat. Thank you. Rocker need to get this for the home major positioning. That's true too. That'd be nice. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. I think Rocker is just gonna get a little bit better with their role switch, having a week of practice. I think if they play a map like Berlin and Preston's able to run like the second sub and then the switch on and stuff, it's going to help them out. I think maps like, you know, like I don't know. We'll see. Oof. We will see. So those are the match predictions for the morning crowd today. It's only a 45-minute episode. There was not too much to talk about. We kind of just, you know, talked about Clayster a little bit. We didn't get too far in that conversation just because I literally have no fucking idea what's about to happen. And then we did some match predictions. We could pretty much call this podcast from here. We'll do Saturday's match predictions obviously tomorrow, and then we will do the Friday match breakdown tomorrow as well for the actual podcast. I feel like this is like the start to the morning crowds for the weekend, and then once the matches start going, dude, and we start getting into the fucking swing of things, and we know that like, hey, like we can break down all these matches. That's where this podcast gets fucking lit. So yeah, I'm fucking stoked, dude. I love matches. I love the COD League, and I am super excited to watch these matches today. I thought, you know, Ravens, Texas, Rocker. That's my 3. But I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. We're going to switch over to rank play here in a second. And then, you know, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. This is obviously a short one. Nothing too crazy to talk about, but we'll still throw it up there. And then we'll, you know, go from there.